have move token. Very, very important. This is the thing which I wanted to show in the first go. Move token, guys, is one of the most important cleanup activity that we perform in production. Okay. I was giving an example like say an instance has failed. Now we deployed the fix to that environment, and then we went to the process inspector. We tried to retry that instance from there, but it didn't work. Then we came to the REST API. We again tried this retry process API call, which we just now saw, but that also did not work. Then we have something called move token. Now, what is move token? Let me show you first from the diagram. Now, say there was some issue with the employee task, and that's the reason the entire instance failed. Now I have fixed that issue. I try to retry it, but somehow the retry is not working. So what we generally do, we move the token backward once again. And what will happen? Whenever I move the token backward over here, then definitely it will execute this code, and once again it will try to move forward. It has been found doing this, the issue gets fixed. Okay. Whenever you deploy the fix, what happens? It still tries to take the old state, which is incorrect. That's the reason we refresh this by moving the token backward, and automatically it will again move forward. That time it will take the new state, that is the new fix which I have deployed to that environment. Okay. So this is one of the most important way, or this is one of the most common way that we follow, and this is being followed for quite a long time. I mean, since IBM BPM was introduced, move token and all this API calls were there from the beginning only. And in case of some kind of typical issues come, say for example some database call has failed, say maybe we are trying to call some external application to get some details, and somehow that external application was not returning a correct response. And when they came up and said that, hey, our external this application is working now, please go and retry your instance. And we went ahead in the inspector and tried to retry it, but it failed. Then what we did move token, we moved backward, and once again we refreshed it. So it, and suddenly you can see that the call once again is good. The call is successful, and we get a proper response from them, and then only we move forward. Now the thing is, even at times, just to refresh this instance, we don't move the token backward, we move the token again on top of it. Say we have the token number 6, and there is something, some ID for this employee task, right? We also have an ID for the script task. This IDs, we call it as the target IDs. Okay. And this target IDs you will get only from the REST API. Okay. Target IDs means basically whenever you are adding any component in the process, say you are adding a script, or you are adding some system activity, or you are adding a user activity, or you are adding a linked process, whichever activities you add, each activity will again have some unique identifier. Okay. Now that unique identifier I can get only from the REST API. And you know what is the name of the unique identifier? We just missed to discuss that. We'll go back once again. That is called the target ID. Okay. And which is the call that we make to get those details? Again, the same call, current state. I will show you quickly. Here we have the current state. I will put the instance ID once again, 256. Here, guys, you see there is something we call as the flow object ID. This flow object ID is nothing but the target ID. Why I'm using this term target ID, you will come to know very soon. So here is the flow object ID, which we consider as the unique identifier of which task? Employee task. Okay. If you have tasks further, say it is right now showing the execution tree of only active tasks. Tomorrow, whenever I complete this employee task, whenever it will move forward to the manager task, it will also show me the flow object ID of the manager task. Okay, so this way it happens. Now let me click on all. Hmm. Yeah, now you can see guys, I clicked on all. Now it is also showing me manager task. For the manager task also, what I can see, yes, I don't see any target ID right now for the manager task because the manager task is still not active. Whenever the manager task becomes active, whenever the token moves forward, then only I will get the object ID or the target ID of the manager task. All right, now what we will do, I will try to fail an instance, and using the move token technique, I am going to retry it. Okay, so first let's go back to our designer. So here, I cannot move the token backward here. The reason is this is a script, and script will never create an, it will never have an object ID which will be displayed in the REST API. So what we'll do, we'll try to move the token on again back to this employee task. Okay, just to refresh it once again so that it gets the exactly the current or the latest state of my activity. So first I will go inside this employee task. Again, whatever we did before. So let me add something like this. Let me save it. And if I try to run this process now, I get an instance ID 257. I have an employee task. So if I go and claim this employee task will fail. So my instance has also failed now. I can see it has failed. Now 257, let me go to the REST API and let me get the current state. I don't need all, I just need the execution tree. So what I can see here, I should be able to see some token ID. Yes, I can see the token ID. Token ID is 6 because it is waiting at top of the employee task. And here we have the flow object ID, which is important for me. Now I will go to move token API. What does this move token API will ask for? It will ask for three important things: instance ID, token ID, and target step ID. At which step you want to move the token. Instance ID, I already have 257. Token ID, I can see token ID 6. So I just need to put token ID 6. And what else we need? We need the flow object ID, which is also called the target step ID. Just copy this and paste it over here. Wait, will not execute the call because I have not resolved the issue till now, right? So I'll go back to the employee task, remove this thing, save it. Now I can go back to the REST API and execute this call. What I get 200. Okay. Now I should go back to my inspector 257. It is showing me failed. Now if I click on retry from here, it should work. The thing is that this retry from here will work because of this issue. This issue can be retried from here. But in case of some external calls, if in case of say some UCA was about to pass a message, but somehow the message was not being passed, or maybe it became late, right? And somehow since we did not get the response, maybe some activity failed because of that, because it was waiting for some time. Remember, we have some timer and everything. So say I've enabled some timer and it was waiting for some response from some other process, but it failed. So what will happen in that, in those kind of scenarios, we can use this move token. Whenever you do a move token from here directly, it will not change the state to active. You have to once again go to the inspector and refresh the instance or retry the instance. That time you will see automatically the instance will become active. Okay, so move token is very important uh, generally you will see in production this kind of cleanup activities will come. I have created one utility for my project. If we have time, I'll show you where you don't have to come to this REST API. I have created one service flow, and that service flow, if you put some details over there, automatically that service flow will move the token backward or forward. Okay, so if you have some time at the end, I'll show you this service. So you can also create these utilities at your end. Creating utilities is very important, guys. Okay, what is utility? Utility is something, say, yesterday we saw a few things, right? Like I was assigning a task to some user from the inspector, and even in the REST API also I'll show you there is also a way where you can assign a task to someone else, right? Now, why do we need to be dependent on this REST API and this inspector? Instead of using this, I can create a service at my own, and that service will work as a utility where I can assign any task to any user. Okay, these are called the BPM utilities, which you as a developer can create, and definitely that will help your team. Okay, so instead of going to the REST API, instead of going to the inspector, directly you can call that service, and you can easily, you can whatever you want to perform, those things you can perform through your service, right? Now a question can come into your mind that, Rahul, I created one service flow. Say the service flow will assign a task to some user. I can call that service in the development environment. How do we call that service whenever I am deploying that service flow to, say, production environment, right? Obviously, we can't call it, right? Because we don't have an authoring environment. We don't have a process designer for the testing environment and for the production environment. That's the reason we have another API called service API, where you can call any service from the REST API. It says start service. Through this, I can call a service. Generally, this kind of utilities we create it through an AJAX service. And an AJAX service can be called easily from the REST API. Okay. I don't remember. I believe I said you guys when we were discussing about the AJAX service that an AJAX service is a naturally exposed service. I don't have to configure anything. Say today, if Java team wants to tell that, hey, we want to trigger your BPM process, so you can provide some kind of service URL to us through which we can call, and we can trigger the BPM process, right? One of the feature or one of the component that we can use in BPM is called the AJAX service. And AJAX service, I believe we discussed this thing before. Let me open a notepad. So in an AJAX service, guys, say I create an AJAX service called task assignment. So this service will try to assign a task to some user. We need to provide the task ID as an input, and whenever we put the task ID as an input, now this service it has some code which will try to assign this task to some particular user. Now how can I call this from the REST API? From the REST API, this AJAX service can be called using this URL. Okay, this is the format, or this is the URL. We have to get the acronym of the process app where this AJAX service is, followed by @ and then the AJAX service name. So say this task assignment service is placed in, say, leave application process, and say it has an acronym, say LA, then it will LA @ task assignment. So tomorrow if you are collaborating with some Java team or with some external team, and they are saying you that, hey, I want to call your Ajax service, please provide the endpoint URL, then this is the URL which you need to provide them. Okay, so process app acronym at the rate of Ajax service name. This kind of things will be there a lot in case if you're working in headless projects. If you're working in a complete end-to-end BPM project, this kind of calls will not be there that much, but definitely in a headless project, this kind of things will definitely be there. Okay, all right. Now, once again, I move back to the start service. Let me see if I have any Ajax service over here. Wait, sorry. Ajax service flow. No, I don't have. Let us create one. Okay, we'll try to trigger a BPD from the REST API today through an Ajax service. Okay, let's see how to do it.